Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, versus Adriana, Captain of the Guard. That's not a particularly fast hand, like we might have to play against a Boros deck, but we do have Invisible Stalker in the opening hand, and then we have a means of stacking the top of our library with Liliana Vess. Unfortunately, our opponent is on the play, so they might get a fast start on us, but they don't. They get down a Stone Quarry, which is a tap land. And we have a free Cloud of Fairies to get down on turn 2. When this thing enters, it untaps 2 lands. So it's effectively free if you play it with 2 lands. Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, comes in with Commander Ninjutsu of 2 mana. It's a 1/3, and whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage, you reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to the CMC of that card, and it does have to deal combat damage to a player. I should correct myself there. It does specifically have to be to a player. We'll get down the Cloud of Fairies. Like I said, this is effectively free, and it's also a 1/1 flyer, so it means that we can get Yuriko down easily. And we'll not be untapping our opponent's lands with it, of course. We will instead get down our Invisible Stalker, and we're off to a slightly faster start than I thought we were going to be, thanks to the fairies. Our opponent gets down a Precinct Captain, which will be getting them into some free 1/1 soldiers. I don't suppose there's anything to stop us blocking that with Yuriko. Yuriko is a 1/3. And our opponent made us get rid of that hand. We do get into some more lands, but we don't get anything particularly good there, unfortunately. So that was a pretty good Molten Psyche from our opponent. They do get a free soldier token. And we are going to preordain before we get down our Yuriko. I think we'll go for Underground Sea first. So we'll preordain, see if we can scry anything big onto the top. We do have to make sure that we do this correctly. Yeah, we can reveal this. This will be 5, 6, 7 damage to our opponent. That will go on top first, and then we can draw into the Sol Ring. I'm not going to play Sol Ring, unfortunately. We will just get in for a couple of damage. And we'll bounce back the Cloud of Fairies as it is effectively free. So we'll go for Commander Ninjutsu, which is 2 mana. Bounce the Cloud of Fairies back. In comes Yuriko. Yuriko is of course a ninja, so she triggers herself. And we reveal that big card off the top, and that will be some damage dealt to our opponent. And they scoop to that. What is this? Return an online permanent, target opponent. Okay. Not sure what our opponent got so upset about there, but let's see what we would have drawn into. Sakashima Student, another unblockable. Yeah, we didn't have anything too busted coming out. There wasn't even a means of getting this back on top of our library, so yeah, not really sure why our opponent scooped there. We might have actually lost that game had they have rushed us with Boros creatures, as I'm sure their deck is aimed at doing. But anyway, I'll probably splice this onto another video and show you how difficult it is to get games on Magic Online. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow, versus Kaalia of the Vast. We don't have a superb hand, but I kept a blue tap land in order to get the Mistcloaked Herald down, but we do actually get into a turn 1 blue source, which means we can try and rush out Yuriko, and then hopefully we get into some cards that can throw these fuse cards, or they're not fuse cards, they're split cards, aren't they? Split cards or Temporal Trespass on top of our library. If we reveal those off Yuriko, then we can do a lot of damage to our opponent. Scroll Rack or Brainstorm, something like that would be really welcome. Gudul Lurker. I think I just want to get down Yuriko here. So we'll swing in at our opponent. And then once blockers are declared, which obviously they can't declare any blockers, we'll get down Yuriko, bounce the Merfolk back to our hand, and then hope to reveal something that deals damage to our opponent off the top. And it's just a land, but we do actually need lands in this deck. What to discard? I think we'll just get rid of the swamp there. We do have a couple of lands in hand. Kaalia of the Vast is a flyer, 2/2. When it attacks, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. A very powerful commander. And we don't seem to have means of dealing with her as of yet. We can bounce her back. So I think we can just go for that. Yeah, why don't we get down another unblockable. And then we can get down the Underground Sea. We can either swing in now after a bounce, or we can wait for our opponent's turn, and I have of course opted to wait for our opponent's turn. What you would think they would do is go straight through to combat, but they may want to try and cast something on Kaalia first, and we might get a 2-for-1. If they try and enchant her or something like that. No, they just go for a signet, that's fine. As soon as the beginning of combat takes place, we are going to bounce Kaalia. It does mean they'll be able to recast her this turn, I think. Okay, we don't seem to have a whole heap going on. What could we do here? We could go for commit, put a target spell or non-land permanent on top of its owner's library. That would put it back into the command zone. So we'll go for a swamp here. And we are kind of slow rolling things out here, but that's what you have to do against Kaalia sometimes. If you can keep them off Kaalia, you can sometimes give them a really hard time. Unfortunately, if they keep ramping like this, they will just be able to hardcast the dragons and angels and things like that. We do need to do this before our opponent attacks, because it does trigger off of attacks. And they will need to pay 6 mana to get Kaalia out again, which they can afford. Okay, they plump for Assemble the Legion. Okay, well we get into Brainstorm, which is... yeah, that's pretty good. We can do 8, 9, 10, 11 damage to our opponent if we throw the Brainstorm on top. Or if we throw the Temporal Trespass on top with Brainstorm. Liliana Vess is also really nice. We put 2 cards on top. Why don't we go Forbidden Alchemy and Temporal Trespass. And then we can Polluted Delta. We won't crack that yet. I want to reveal the Temporal Trespass first. So let's just get a couple of damage in on our opponent. And then Yuriko is a ninja, and she will reveal Temporal Trespass, dealing damage to our opponent. Now we can shuffle that Forbidden Alchemy away. We'll go and get that Sunken Hollow out of our library. And then we can go for Sol Ring into 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 mana. And that is Liliana Vess. And then we'll search our library and put a scroll rack on top. Do we want to put scroll rack on top? We could go for Cover of Darkness. Trying to expand that right now, but it won't expand it for me. Okay, our opponent decides to scoop there. They weren't out of the game. Well, I don't think they were out of the game. I obviously don't know what was in their hand. Yeah, but people do tend to scoop to tutors online. What we could have done there actually is gone for Temporal Mastery for an extra turn. But I think they would have gotten down. They certainly would have got down a creature with Assemble the Legion and then a recast of Kaalia. So that's why I was looking at Cover of Darkness. Make sure that our creatures can only be blocked by black or artifact creatures. Kaalia is a black creature, so yeah, not sure they should have scooped there. We could have gone for Arcane Adaptation and turned our unblockable creatures into ninjas, and that of course would have triggered them. Yeah, not sure what we would have gone for there, but our opponent decided to scoop early anyway, so hope you all enjoyed that Yuriko game. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.